When I started these short weekly videos, I wasn't quite sure where I would land with the content, like what was I actually going to talk about. I knew I wanted it to be a place to share more like in the moment type content since the podcast is literally scheduled out through August, which is so frustrating when I have something that I want to share. Previous newsletters all had to do with that podcast. My social media reach isn't impressive. So even if I do share more in the moment on there, it like wasn't the same as being able to interact with all of you. So with that being said, I hope you're enjoying where it's landing so far. Since we're in the middle of planning and hosting a summit, like it only feels natural for me to bring you into it and give you a behind the scenes look at some pieces. If you have other preferences or suggestions or things you'd like me to talk about, like please let me know. I'm sure things will shift once the summit is over, but I hope so far things are at least mildly interesting and helpful. But Monday this week was our big testing day. And due to the findings, we did end up pushing back registration to the waitlist by a few hours, but nothing major. But since I'm recording this before we open registration, I thought I'd share what I'll be looking at during these first few days of registration being open. So how I do things is I open registration to my audience a few days before speakers and affiliates begin to share, or at least before they're supposed to, because I want to be 100% sure that everything is working perfectly and converting well before like thousands of new to me people start hitting our registration page and things explode. I learned this the hard way. And since I do have a sizable audience, I still prefer to open registration in stages. I never send that first email to my full email list, which is why I incorporated a waitlist this time. I have not kept an eye on that waitlist. I honestly have no idea if there are 5 people on it, 500 people on it. I don't know. But it was nice to have like a link to share with people when I was giving updates on the summit. And it's nice to have a smaller segment of my list to be able to open registration to as we test things out. If I did not have the waitlist to give that first announcement to, I would have started with my Launch with the Summit Accelerator and Accelerator VIP clients, since I know they would be very gracious if anything didn't work. Like they would still sign up, they'd still enjoy it, but they'd also let me know if they came across any issues because they'd know what those issues were. So that's where I would have started if I didn't have this waitlist, and I'll probably still open registration to them along with the waitlist because why not? But once we're ready, today, as we're recording this, and our final test checkout, I'll send the announcement email to the waitlist only, and I'll watch pretty closely for the first little bit to make sure that number 1, people can register successfully, and 2, people can purchase successfully. Like, of course, we've tested, but things are always different when you release it to the masses. Kate, throughout this process, will have an eye on the inbox just to make sure that no big customer service issues or tech issues come up right away. But once we get that confirmation that things are working, I'm not going to look at it much, other than like Kate continuing to monitor the inbox, which she's always doing even without this. I'm going to go about my day. Right? If any issues come up, of course, I will stop and fix it, but I'm confident that after our testing, things will be good to go. And then we'll allow the announcement to our full email list to go out tomorrow. So while the first test with the smaller audience is to make sure that things work, the second test with our whole audience is to get a better idea of conversion rates, just keeping in mind that my audience is likely going to convert quite a bit higher than speaker and affiliate audiences. So I want to make sure these conversion rates look really, really good. So after that announcement to our full list goes out, I'm sure I'll check in a couple times throughout the day because I'm nosy, but I will give it 24 hours before I do any like serious conversion rate calculations. If I'm happy with what we see with conversion rates, I'll give my speakers and affiliates the thumbs up for starting to promote on Monday. If I don't like what I'll see, I'll work with the team. We'll look at Hotjar, we'll analyze conversion rates and what could be going wrong and make whatever changes we need to make. I don't foresee that being an issue, but I also don't want to assume that what we're doing is as awesome as I hope it is. And that's it. Like, I'm not going to obsess over numbers. I'm not going to get all bent out of shape if by the end of the week we have 100 fewer registrations than we did at the same point for our last summit. Like, I'm not going to do any of that because it is not worth it. It is not worth the drama and stress that I see so many people get caught up in. I'm going to trust that the work we've done up to this point is solid. I'm going to trust the strategies because I know they work. And I'm going to enjoy the heck out of chatting with attendees, showing off speakers, and just inviting new people into my world and getting to share about this topic that I've become passionate about. And I know this point of view might be a little different. I'm not going to sit and stress about it. So leave a comment and let me know what questions you have, either about the process or my point of view on it. If you disagree, I'd love to hear that as well. If you're watching on Loom, you can comment right here below the video. If you're listening on the podcast, you can join the discussion in the Summit Host Hangout Facebook group, on Instagram stories. There's all kinds of places. I'd love to hear from you anywhere it works for you. I'd love to hear what you think.